technical difficulty, but I think we're in business now. So I will call the Harrison County Commission meeting for November 30th, 2022 to order. If you will rise and join me in the invocation of the pledge, please. I'm going to read a prayer that was in a bulletin at church, and it's entitled "Clear a Holy Space." Laboring God, with axe and winnowing fork, you clear a holy space where hurt and destruction have no place, and a little child holds sway. Clear our lives of hatred and despair, sow seeds of joy and peace, that shoots of hope may spring forth, and we may live in harmony with one another. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody signed up for public comment? Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? Hearing none, we will move to the consent agenda. What's the pleasure? Motion to approve consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 3, payroll change notices A through C. Motion to approve 3A through C. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 4, minutes and or amended minutes of previous meetings, A through C. Motion to approve A through C on number 4. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 5, requisitions, purchase orders, invoices as shown on A, vendor requisition list of payments. What's the pleasure? Motion to approve 5A. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 6, exoneration corrective tickets, joint property application. It appears A and B, just exonerations and corrective tickets.
That is correct.
Okay. Motion to approve 6A and B. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 7, consideration of approval of a project fund requisition for the payment of costs associated with the project to be financed from proceeds of the Series 2019 bonds issued for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District Series 2021 A and B, Development District number 3, White Oaks Project number 2, and Series 2008A, Charles Point Project number 2, Northland Bay Improvements. It appears we have 4 requisitions. A through D.
Motion to approve A through D.
Motion to approve 7A through D. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, please note the opposition. Motion carried. Number 8. Review, discuss, consider GSA potential executive session pursuant to 69A4B9 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which, if made public, might adversely affect the financial or other interest of the county.
We do not have anything for number 8 for this.
There's nothing for number 8. We can move to number 9. Consideration of approval of project fund requisitions for the payment of costs associated with the General Services Administration building to be financed from proceeds of Series 2020 bonds issued for the Harrison County Building Commission as shown on A, requisition number 77 for Rycon. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Appears there is nothing under number 10. Is that correct?
Correct.
Review, discuss, consider Greater Harrison PSD Board Member appointment, Gary Oval to replace the late Edward Ray Van Horn.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve the appointment under number 11. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 12, review, discuss, approve transfer of ending sick leave balance for Cecilia Wilcox from the Sheriff's Tax Office to the City of Clarksburg.
This is just to confirm that Ms. Wilcox had this many hours, so they can transfer them over to her time at City of Clarksburg.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Review, discuss, consider certificate of appointment of real property tax.
This is for Miss Brittany Smith. And Anna Phillips, Jacob Barr is part 1, 2 is Jamil and Dale Lewis.
So they want to split something, it looks like.
23, Isaac Creek.
What's the pleasure?
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve the apportionment of real properties, certificate of apportionment. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Review, discuss, consider request Sun Valley PSD reappointment of Sandra J. Patterson. Term expires on January 17th, 2023.
Motion approved, Ms. Patterson.
Motion to approve the reappointment under number 14. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 15, review, discuss, consider an ARPA requisition from Greater Harrison PSD for their Locust Heights Booster Pump Station project. Second requisition for payment on this project.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Is there any discussion? Did you girls want to say anything on this?
No, it's just I believe that project's around $97,000, so they're still working on it. It's just their second draw for that project.
Motion to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. Number 16, review, discuss, consider ARPA request from the town of West Milford in the amount of $11,594.50 for the master meter replacement project.
And this one, they will be doing multiple projects. This is their first project with their ARPA funds, and this is the final draw on their first project. It'll leave them about $60,000 for additional projects.
Thank you. Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 17, review, discuss, consider a resolution accepting funds from the West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Fund.
Madam President, if I may. Sorry.
You want to yield to the circuit
Yeah.
clerk?
Go at it.
Sorry
Okay,
to
go
intrude,
for it.
And I apologize.
Now I know why you're here.
Yeah, I should have probably done this at least maybe almost a month ago, but as you may or may not know, I sit on this committee And I just wanted to make it known because I had several committee members.
That's a good committee for us to have somebody on.
Yeah, so, although I can't vote on anything that we proposed, but I did want you all to know, and I was supposed to come back and let you know probably late October when we had our approval committee. But I forgot, to be honest with you, and then I seen it on the agenda, and I thought, I'll go down today and let them know, and I forgot again until I come down to get payroll, and I thought, I have meetings today, so I better go in there, so I popped in real quick, and then I apologize for that unannounced. But I wanted to let you know the committee was very much impressed by our grant writers. Everything that was required by that grant for the elevators was in there. It was very concise, very informative, and very thorough. And they made that comment during the meeting, and I didn't have to add anything to it. Occasionally, they ask people if they want to add anything during those meetings. I didn't have to add a word. It was approved immediately, and I just want to say kudos to the grant writers because that's what they conveyed to me.
Good deal. Thanks,
you.
Albert.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. Motion approved.
Okay, motion to approve resolution. Any further discussion? Do you want to say
Can I
anything?
just-
Sure,
Just make
since
one-
Albert interrupted. you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay, thank you. We appreciate that.
This was nothing bad.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that you all know, I know that there's work being done on the elevators now. This money will not cover any of that expense. It will not cover the expenses until after the 1st of January for any replacements or whatever. So just want to make that clear.
I sat in on that committee one time for somebody. so.
But this is $100,000.
Yes,
grant.
it's $100,000 grant.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. 18, review, discuss, consider certification of election results for the general election of November 8, 2022.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve and affix signatures. Any discussion? And they're done. and yes. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 19, review, discuss, consider the agreement for the Harrison County Regional Farm Recreation Complex, A, short form of agreement between owner and engineer for professional services, and B, Exhibit A, scope of services.
So what this is the agreement between ourselves and Thrasher for the farm feasibility study out on 279. Originally, we put out the bid for engineering services. Thrasher was the only one that submitted a bid. We awarded that bid. At that point in time, we talked about how there were no prices in with that bid. So this is actually to talk about the services they're going to provide and the cost that it'll be for the county.
Thank you. Motion approved.
Motion to approve 19A and B. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Why are we using short form instead of standard A1A?
What's that?
The RFP actually had a proposed agreement attached as addendum D to the proposal. Typically, when we attach,
That's not this.
that's not that, no, sir. I would prefer if we use or discuss with the vendor the contract which was attached to the RFP itself. Because that's what went out to the public. Thoughts?
We can amend it to do that. And the motion to approve and attach the RFP that was went out to the public.
You have
Motion
to
to,
take that back to your legal.
No, we'll make that work, that's fine.
motion to amend, President, as stated by the attorney general.
Okay, motion to amend to accept the agreement as stated by the county's attorney.
Yep.
Fair enough?
I've just got a couple questions. You've got task, survey, engineering, and environmental. What's the engineering for?
To look at how how to lay out the facility on the property to maximize the use of the property. Look at how it will fit with the remaining property that will be there. They're only going to use 10 acres. So it's going to be just some basic engineering, basic concept drawings, probably be more than one concept for you to select from. And those are my thoughts.
So I thought we went out for best use of property. Is that not what we?
So So the RFP, I reviewed it early this morning. It does have a description in pages 4 through 7 in terms of the scope of work. When we amend this contract, what I'd like to do is take the scope of work from the RFP and basically just copy and paste it into the revised agreements. It actually may cost you a little bit more money, but then the contract would be consistent with the RFP.
Okay.
So I think the scope of work is actually broader in the RFP than is set forth within the current task order read. I agree,
I did.
but I think that's how it needs to be done. That's how it went to the public.
Sure.
So until we get a final contract, which could be in 2 weeks, I make a motion that we table this until we get a contract we can actually look at as a commission in 2 weeks.
Okay, motion's been made to wait for, well, but are we gonna have it before 2 weeks? To look, to review?
We already have the contract
Yeah.
drawn up.
Yeah.
It was attached to the
Just
RFP.
basically it has to go to Thrasher to go through and revise what they've done.
Yes, yeah. I'll just copy
I
and
just wanna make
paste
sure.
pretty much.
Okay. Motion to wait 2 weeks until we get the revised contract from Thrasher. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, so we go back to the original motion. You still want to leave your motion on the,
No, we'll wait 2 weeks.
so that takes care of 19, correct?
Thank you.
Mhm. Number 20, review, discuss, consider Shinston North Bend Rail Trail Connector, Exhibit A, Task Order 2.
So task order 2 is encompassing the survey work for that connector and also the engineering design for that bridge, for that North Bend Rail Trail connector.
Okay, I can't remember. We've had some, and I can't. So this is for. Okay,
Madam President,
are we getting the,
this is putting the cart before the horse. At the same time, I'll make the motion to approve, but it's in January that we'll be taking the property in Wilsonburg. So I agree. I know that what Laura just said, Madam Administrator said, that it is putting the cart before the horse, but it's just part of, it's going to be part of the process anyway.
so you're making a motion to approve. Okay, motion is to approve number 20.
Because we can't do it until we obtain the property and then give it to the development authority anyway, but this would just be one step that would be out of our way. Upon receiving the property and then, giving it to the development authority.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yes, ma'am. What guarantee that we have that we're gonna have the property in January? Or ever any property?
There is no guarantee that everything will be signed there in January. We are expecting, I believe I sent out the email to the commission, paperwork back in January for it.
Maybe late. Middle of next year, by the time it's done. We've got a lot of studies that have to be done, a lot of expenses. I'm trying to understand why we're worrying about a bridge before we even know we want to own the property. And I would also like to know from legal how we turn the Thrasher if I read what they have that I received, is supposed to, I'm trying to understand how they got the job of engineering the bridge. And I'd like legal to give an opinion on the contract that we have with Thrasher.
You want a written opinion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion on the motion?
I think we're out of the scope of work that was assigned. I think we need to sit back and, before we commit to spending $33,000 on something we don't even know that we'll ever own, we could spend that money on other things, on rail trails.
Any,
So my motion is to table to the project is a definite. We own the property.
motion's been made to table until it's a definite that we own the property. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Still want to go with your motion? Number 21, review, discuss, consider requesting the Harrison County Development Authority, HCDA, pursue funding avenues, grants, et cetera, for construction and completion of bridge connection Wilsonburg section of Harrison County Rail Trail to northern section of Harrison County Rail Trail, contingent upon acquisition of title from CSX in conjunction with Harrison County Commission. Here again, I feel that this is also getting the cart before the horse. I'm speaking for myself.
I can't say I don't disagree with you, President Thomas, but I also think it would hurt for staff to be looking and getting an idea so that when we're ready to pull the trigger, we know where to go.
And this is also asking the development authority to look into it.
I understand, but how does a development authority go out and look for funding when they don't own the property? We don't know that we're gonna get the property here again. I'm confused by that.
So why are we giving the property to a developer?
Well, if you get any funding, we can't.
Well, I kind of think that we have this time when we're gonna be negotiating with CSX, trying to work through the details, doing the phase 1, phase 2. Laura has asked CSX if we could kind of expedite some of those processes and go ahead and start the testing. They have declined that at this point until we have a written agreement, but we have time to explore opportunities and money that may be out there. Why don't we use that time to see what we can get, if anything?
Anything else? Hearing none?
You good with that now?
Yeah, but I still think it's gonna be kind of hard to find unless we can find some grants or something like that. But what do I know?
And there also might be money that helps us defray some of these initial
If there's state
costs.
money or if there's, if we can look for that.
Because we're gonna have costs for testing, for legal, for surveying, for all those things, and if we can find money now to help with those expenses, that'd be wonderful.
Motion for approval.
The motion is to approve 21. Thank you for all of the discussion. All in favor? I'm not throwing you
No,
under
I
the
know.
bus. I just,
No, I get that, but, you know, we do have one grant that's a 50% match, you know, that we could apply for, but, you know, we just need to know what's on that.
how we don't know. Okay,
What it can be used for, because I know they're different requirements, like what's acquisition.
What was the motion? So,
your motion was to
21,
table.
okay, 21 is, we're just gonna end up from
Right.
We actually did put in a grant for acquisition of that land. We just haven't heard back from it. It's a transportation alternative grant, and those take a while to come through, but we did that several months ago. That was specifically for that CSX.
Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye to 21. Yes.
One question, we are asking the development authority to do this and not our in-house staff. Am I ask why we're asking the development authority to pursue these avenues of grants and not our, I'm confused on that one.
I think it's both. The agenda reads in conjunction with the Harrison County Commission.
Why are we involved in the development association?
I mean, I'm assuming because if we have to get money from a financial institution, we cannot borrow the money. It would have to be,
If we're gonna borrow the money.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
If,
that's,
I mean, it's all if.
it's
I mean,
just-
he can amend his motion if you're not comfortable with the way it is to.
Well, I'd just
include it.
rather keep it with our own staff, because I mean, if we ever need to borrow money, you can either do it through them or you can do it through the building authority. Either one can do it, but I would just rather keep it our staff do it instead of the development.
I don't have an issue- Do you have an issue with that?
No.
You want to amend your motion?
As stated by Commissioner Hickman.
And the staff pursue the fundings and grants, and I'll just, I'll work with you.
I was thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, but by having it with the development authority, at least we're having them involved at the beginning. And if we need to use them, there's already that communication and partnership there.
Yeah.
Instead of coming back again.
I'd like at another meeting to discuss the development authority and its function within the commission. Before we get into
Okay,
stuff.
I'm going back to your original motion. then. Okay. You want to amend the motion again?
Yeah, just motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve number 21 as stated as written.
Yeah.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No,
Motion carried. Number 22, review, discuss, consider requesting that HCDA pursue funding avenues, loans, grants, et cetera, for the construction and completion of Harrison County Youth Regional Farm Facility in conjunction with Harrison County Commission.
Again, this is along the same lines of the previous ones, for them to go out and be looking for funding, be looking for grants.
they, that's all I want. Who's they? The Harrison County Development Authority have employees. They can't tell these people what to do. So who's that? Who's going out for the Harrison County?
Well, they can
Development
work
Authority?
through with Laura.
And the grants.
And myself.
department.
I mean,
I'm
if
on the
they was to
authority.
fi- If they were to find something. I
It
mean, they
ends
can
up
bring
back
it to
in
us
their
and
lap.
we
I
can-
understand that.
we'll be happy to
Why
do
would
it.
all the- There's no reason to involve this other entity to do the work that our employees and that we are doing. What are they bringing to the table? You think all the people that are sitting on that board are gonna go out and beat the bushes and look for money? They only meet maybe once or twice a year. I just don't understand why we're putting the development authority in the middle of all these projects. If you want to do that, then just dump the whole thing into them and tell them to go develop the rail trail, and go develop the 4-H farm, and just step aside. They can borrow money and they can build it, find the grants. We're making this complicated.
If I may, Madam President, the Development Authority does have a function. And all those members on that board are volunteer. They are appointed, they do not get paid for it. But they are willing to step in, they're willing to serve on that board, and they're willing to help, whether it's look for grants or funding, or they have ideas that they would like to be voiced. I mean, let's help use them. And if we can't, at least we gave them that opportunity, but let them work with the grants department and myself to have a function of more of a purpose and allow them to have a purpose to meet more than just twice a year. I mean, they're willing to come together.
Well, for the record, we've met more than twice a year.
And for the record, 7 years ago, the commission was going to dissolve it because there's. no-
Well, I'm not, that has nothing to do with what we're doing now.
I just don't see why we have to involve them.
Anything else? Hearing nothing, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No,
Because again, this is basically the same as the previous one. Number 23, Administrators Report.
I don't have it.
Okay, Commissioner Hinkle.
Okay.
Okay, I have none either.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.